Welcome to the League-Kempner House on Galveston Island. Today we're going to step outside and spend some time in the yard. You already know from the home tour video that this house was designed like many of the other mansions on the street to show off the wealth of the owner. But the yard was an even more conspicuous status symbol for this house. Here's an aerial view of the house. Just look at the lot. It's over half a city block, or about a half an acre. This is a big deal. For the most part, houses in Galveston are on small lots built very close together with just a few feet separating each house. When Michael B. Menard first platted Galveston in 1836, there were some large estate-type lots on the south area of town, but Galveston had explosive growth, and before many of these lots were ever developed, they were replatted to make more smaller lots. So the yard of this house is significant because it's gigantic by Galveston standards. Even the Bishop's Palace, unquestionably the most spectacular home in Galveston, has a tiny yard. But like they say in real estate, it's also location, location, location. This lot wasn't on the outskirts of town. It was a prime location on Broadway, very close to the main downtown area. To be even more conspicuous about how much land this house sat on, the yard had extensive formal gardens and a greenhouse. It would have been a real showplace, not exactly the way it was when I bought the house. This is what I got. Before I can even give you a tour of the yard, a lot of work needs to be done. I've walked around this block for years, peering over the fence, trying to see what's inside. Everything was so overgrown you couldn't really get a glimpse of anything behind the house. The condition of the yard was a serious security issue, which is second in the order of how I approach a rehab. So the day after I closed on the house, a yard crew from Houston came and started clearing the lot. Neighbors came out from all sides to thank me. Most of them had been scared to go outside of their homes at night because the yard was so dark and spooky. Coyotes and raccoons and who knows what were living in the undergrowth. The palm trees didn't look like they'd been trimmed in decades. The underbrush was so thick that the crew disappeared inside the yard, and you could hear them but not see them. It was very satisfying to see the underbrush being removed and get a glimpse of the backyard. It was slow and tedious. The vines reached to the tops of the trees and were difficult to remove. Many were just left in place. After most of the yard was clear, it was time to tackle the dead palm trees. You can see in the realtor photo that these two magnificent date palms in the front of the house were alive and healthy. Within months of this photo, they were completely dead. This is caused by a fungus that attacks date palms, and there's no known cure for it. There were also some palm trees that had seen better days and were at risk of dying and potentially falling, like this one that has a big chunk out of the base. I knew the dead ones needed to come down, but I don't know anything about palm trees, and it was tough to make a decision on what to do. In a stroke of serendipity, two women walking by stopped to chat, and I gave them a tour of the house, and I continue to be amazed by how fate works. One of the women's brother is an amateur palm tree enthusiast, and he has his own palm tree farm on Bolivar Island. She texted him, and he came right over and walked the entire property with me and gave me a rundown on the species of each palm and if it needed to be removed or not. Fortunately, the majority of palm trees are Texas sabals, which are native palms that are slow growing, and they're very hardy and healthy and desirable. He also explained the black marks you see on this palm tree by the street. It was caused by a vandal that went through Galveston throwing gasoline on palm trees and setting fire to them. It's too early to tell if this one's going to die, but for now it seems to be doing okay. With clear direction on what needed to go, the serious palm tree removal started. It was really something to watch them climb up to the top of these 70-foot palms and cut them down section by section. The trunk of this big one was over 4 feet in diameter, and the sections are incredibly heavy. They had to cut them into small pieces to roll them through the front gate. I think these guys are crazy. It's got to be so dangerous, but the climber was relaxed and joking the whole time until this happened. Even he was a little shaken when the top of this date palm shattered because it was so rotten. There wasn't even much tension on the rope. I can't tell you how hard this crew worked and how much plant debris came out of this lot. They had a very large trailer that got filled up at least 5 or 6 times, and one of the crew would stand on top of the debris and cut it with a chainsaw so it would fit down and pack real tight in the trailer. They also hired a private dump truck with a claw to come pick up some of the heavier debris and filled that dump truck up 2 times. After they finished, I continued to work on the yard, cutting down fronds and vines and stacking them on the street. And over the next 10 months, the city's picked up about 3 full dump trucks of debris. Yay for the city of Galveston. They're here picking up trash. In addition to my contractor taking out 5 or 6 trailer loads of yard waste to the dump. Just the debris blown down by Tropical Storm Nicholas filled a dump truck. The scary thing is, I still have more clearing to do. But now you can see the potential the yard has. I took a walk around the house, and I'm going to speed it up a little bit for you to see the results. I bought this house almost a year ago. I'm no novice to this type of restoration, and I was fully prepared for the magnitude of the problems I found inside the house. But honestly, it never occurred to me that the yard would be such a problem. I've just condensed over a week's worth of activity by a very large crew into just a few minutes, and what you saw is just the tip of the iceberg as far as the yard goes. Because just like the house, once you clear out some of the mess, you can see what you've got, and bad things that need to be fixed become really obvious. The yard has a lot to do with the health of the house. There are complex issues to solve. It's not just cosmetic. So I'll be back with some additional videos going into the problems I've uncovered, and I'll bring in some serious machinery to help out. I can't even imagine what it will take to rebuild the greenhouse. I'll take a closer look at the greenhouse later. But you can see with just the initial work, this yard has so much potential, and I'm sure there are secrets to be uncovered as work continues. I know right now that I seriously under-budgeted the work needed in this yard. For now, it's time to get back to more pressing issues with the house. There's so much work to do on this house, and it's all being documented here on YouTube. So be sure and subscribe and turn on your notifications if you don't want to miss out on this amazing house as it comes back to life. Be sure to leave me a comment, and if there's anything in particular you'd like to see or any nosy question you'd like to ask, go ahead. I don't mind. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you back as the adventure continues here at the League-Kempner House on Galveston Island.